Um, so on the hunting side of things, you said that your biggest gun is 35 caliber.
Yep.
Okay, so and if you guys had any people, actually no, a couple of weeks ago, you told me that you've had some of your pro staff guys taking larger game with
Yeah.
caliber. What have you guys been successful so far in hunting?
Yeah. We've had a couple of our guys use that 35 on hog,
Oh yeah,
really successfully. It's interesting with hog. An interesting thing is we actually recommend pellets over slugs for hog.
really?
For hog hunting, a lot of times you want to hit the soft spot on the hog, but because they have those thick skulls, the idea is, we have some. You want a really a solid slug. You don't want one of those deep hollow points because sometimes those things will bounce off their skulls, right? And it's
Right.
all about humane hunting. So I know a few weeks ago, Rick Ream, his handle is Shooter 1721.
Yeah.
He had a big old hog turn, and it'll be some forthcoming video that was filmed, but big hog turn, and it was charging, and he hit it square between the eyes with a pellet, and it went through and dropped him in its tracks. So having some good success with hog in
What
particular.
caliber was that with the 35?
Yeah, that's with the 35. And we've had guys take hog with 30, and to a certain degree, I always try to err. You'd rather have a little more power than what you need.
Sure.
I have no doubt that there's going to be people that might be doing smaller deer. Who am I to say? That gets to the gray area of what you should or shouldn't use for hunting. It's always about, you want to make sure you take things humanely.
Right.
I think that 35 is a great hog gun and down. And maybe some of the smaller deer, but people should be careful. You always want to take game humanely.
So are there a lot of hogs in North Carolina?
There's North Carolina, South Carolina. There's not quite the problems like you get in down south. Like, I know we were visiting a dealer in Louisiana, in the middle of Louisiana, and oh my goodness, the problems they're having with hogs. So he was all excited because he's like, oh, get an impact, get a night vision scope, go out and just, and so the great thing about air guns, especially with problems like that, is you can take multiple games without scaring them off, right?
Right.
So there's some, like I know Texas, Louisiana, some of those places where they have some serious hog problems, where there's the feral hogs are going crazy.
Yeah, one of my good friends who works over at Pulsar, the thermal scope company, was talking a couple of weeks ago. He's actually the guy that got me into the industry. He was telling me about hunting with PCP rifles for hogs, because that's kind of his specialty is hogs, and hunting them at night with the thermal, and how much more effective it can be, especially trying to hit more than one and not spook the whole herd out. And so I think there's an entire, and that's one of the things we're going to try to do with the Heavy Hog Club as we launch here, and you get your patch for the certain weight class. The certain weight class for hog is encouraging people to use to graduate into using big bore air rifles to take these, because it is effective. So what else was I going to ask you?
I will say one of the cool things, I think one of the things that FX is trying to do, because you're asking about our role and kind of the industry and what we're offering, is we're trying to provide those guns where it's kind of that tweener zone. We want to be able to provide it so you can target shoot or small game hunt or pest with smaller calibers, but then be able to power up very easily. Instead of one gun that only does one thing, it has this range of power. In fact, one of our techs, a lot of people know, Ernest Rowe, he took that 35 impact and then swapped barrel kits, tuned it all the way down to 177 and anywhere in between. It's great. That versatility, so that depending on the use, you got a gun that can really be a really versatile tool. That's one of the things we're trying to do. Is it's not something you only pull out every couple of times a year, but it's something that's depending on the season and what you're doing. We've got squirrel season coming up around the corner. I know a lot of guys are getting ready for that. You have all these different seasons, and different calibers are better for different seasons. So
you swap the barrel on it.
Yeah, you can take out the barrel kit, and within a minute, and that's the idea. All the FX guns, you can tune them, adjust their power on them. So, because way back in the day, most manufacturers are doing this now, but back in the day, they'd have a gun where they build a power plant in the valving, and they'd offer it in 177, 22, and 25, but it'd be the same valving. So if you bought like a 25 cal, it'd be an underpowered 25, because the problem is, you need more air and different valving and hammer hit on it, but you had no way of tuning that. So that's the idea. You have to have that versatility. Like, you know, if you're doing bird testing and stuff, you know, 22 caliber is amazing for that, especially some of these heavier slugs.
Mhm.
But then, yeah, all of a sudden you want to go take the hog or do some small game pesting. You have to be able to swap things, and most manufacturers are catching up on that. FX has been doing that for, you know, 5-6 years. That's kind of been our one of our big things is, I'm going to sell you one gun, but you can have different barrels, and even within the barrel, you can swap out the liners. What a liner is, it's basically the insert of the barrel, because a slug wants a faster twist rate than a pellet. So we try to have that versatility where you can swap and change the gun and tailor it.